Kia ora whanau, we're live. ALTBAYS Show brought to you by ALTBAYS.nz. This is show number 66. It's been an amazing journey. I don't get tired to say this. We're really enjoying doing these shows. If you want to support our platform, the best thing you can do is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So where you're watching us right now probably, or if you're listening to us on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, thank you very much. You can also like and subscribe to our channels on those platforms. You can follow us there so you get notifications when there's a new show there for you. Okay, so hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We also have the ALTBAYS clips, which is the second channel where we break down the interviews and the conversations. So if you don't have time to listen to the whole thing, you can go to ALTBAYS clips, watch some of the highlights of the shows, and then if you're interested, you can listen to the whole thing. The beauty of the internet, right? On Friday, if you are in the area, if you are in the Coromandel, I'm playing with a new band that I'm singing with, Repulse the Monkey. So if you are around, come to Smitty's. Look at the name, Rae. God damn it. 9 p.m. So as soon as we finish here the show, I'll be playing this cool band, Dave Mulholland, great guitar player, Connor McLeod, amazing drummer, and Lauren Greenfield. Man, the guy's a machine on the bass. He makes his own bass. How cool is that?
That's cool.
And his pedals, yeah, so he's going to be playing with a bass that he made it. How awesome is that? Anyway, it's going to be fun. So if you're around, Smitty's, 9 p.m. It's the last week of the term for you who have children, or if you are a child, so you must be celebrating because we'll be having our holidays next week, which is pretty cool. So I want to ask Paea here on my left. Hi, Paea.
Kia ora.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Do you miss having school holidays?
No, because I kind of enjoy it because every day is a holiday.
Ooh.
When I'm not working or stressed out. But, yeah.
It sounds like you're living the good life.
Yeah.
So you really enjoy what you do?
Yeah, well, I basically just chill out, go to the gym and, just live and fitty.
Still doing a few hours there at the gym?
Yep. We just had our kids' classes. They some of them did grading yesterday, which was cool because they got new stripes and a couple of them got new belts, which is also really cool as well.
Cool. Yeah. So how does it work? Like, how long do you have to practice or do your thing to get the grade, get graded? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, so the kids get graded differently. They have they have different sets of belts. So they go white, grey, yellow, orange, and then you go to green. And then from there you can go from blue into the adult belts and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you talking about jiu-jitsu specifically?
Yeah.
Or? Yes.
That's just for jiu-jitsu, but I think it's quite similar for other martial arts as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Which one are you at the moment?
I'm a blue belt.
Blue belt.
Yeah.
How many more to get to the shit level, the master?
So next is purple, then you got brown, and then it goes to black. But that's gonna take quite a few years. So
that's what I was wondering. Like, is it all about your practice, or it's a time thing? No, it depends on how.
It's a time thing, and then it's also about a practice thing. Like you could go there. I could keep going there for 3 years, and if I'm not drilling properly and if I'm not really learning anything, then I'm not going to get a new belt, basically. It's a time thing, but then it's also about what you're learning and how much you're learning.
Right.
Well, I guess that's about anything.
Interesting, isn't it? And the reason why I'm bringing this up, I'm going to tell you guys why. Tonight, we have a very special guest here in front of us, Rae Katene. Did I say it right? No. God damn, we've been practicing. Hi, Rae.
Hi, Leo.
So maybe you can tell me.
Well, I say Katene.
Katene.
What do you say?
Katene.
Yeah, Katene.
Katene. Rae Katene. And how are you, Rae?
I'm fine, thanks, Leo.
Do you like this place?
Very smart. Very smart.
Well, something has to be smart here because the host is just so lost, cannot even pronounce a surname. So at least the place is smart. Rae, do you know some martial arts?
No, when I was a teenager, I sat in for 2 years watching my girlfriend getting up to a brown belt.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just sat on the sidelines watching it. That was my entertainment.
Yeah. It is quite entertaining watching though. Yeah, even if you're not joining in, sometimes I just like watching. It's quite entertaining.
Did you learn something from watching?
Yeah, I learned that I was lazy.
Well, at least you can own up to that, right, Ray? Some people are lazy and they don't know. They don't say it. They just are. Ray, you have been living in this community for a while. How many years?
I came back about 25 years ago. Yes, 25 years.
You came back. So were you born here?
No, Hamilton girl, but almost all my education here.
Right. So you came to the Coromandel quite early.
Yes.
Right.
We did about a year in Coromandel, then came over here.
And do you remember, like, do you know the reasons why your family chose to come to the Coromandel?
Well, my father was a builder, and I don't know, but I just suspect he saw that it was growing.
An opportunity.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
So this would be a few years after the war, Second World War.
Wow. Wow, that's fantastic. So, yay.
That's a long time ago.
Now I'm just like, getting.
And I can remember two things from that with him. One, our house that he built, and saying that when you build a house, you can't expect to have the view forever, because when he built our house, we could see the water. And the other thing I could remember him complaining that he couldn't find the £20 to get a deposit on a property along the beach, further along Buffalo Beach Road. £20.
Wow. £20.
Yeah, for a deposit.
How was what are your early memories of the area?
Well, like a lot of people that you're going to interview, I hope, fabulous childhood. Down the wharf, down the beach, up to a hooker waterfall. Some of us, not me, but some of us would even just walk, go over on the ferry and walk right around Whanuakiti and back to Whitianga again, do the big loop.
Oh, that's a big walk.
Yeah, that's a big walk. Yeah. Swimming across the river, backwards and forwards across the river. A fabulous childhood.
And how was the infrastructure of the town at the time?
In what way specifically?
Like roads and the streets and the access to the Coromandel and the shops.
Well, of course, back in those days, there was a Tapu Road. That was the way into Whitianga.
That's the road next to the Coral Glen.
That was the road into Whitianga. And the Albert Street was shells, covered in shells. And I remember coming back after I'd left home, and I came back, I don't know, late teens, and being horrified because there were weeds on the footpath. But we eventually did get tar seal. I remember that, the tar seal trucks coming in and doing Albert Street.
So you do have those memories.
Yeah. And of course, the power got turned off at 10 o'clock at night.
What?
Yeah.
What the
Really?
heck?
Yep. It was private. It was as I remember it, the last private power company on the New Zealand main islands. Some of the, I think Great Barrier Island had a private power company for some time after that. But we had 10 o'clock lights off.
Wow. Do you remember like that thing, that preparation to, well, I guess everybody goes to bed, right? Or there was like a ritual of like candle lights and all?
Yes.
Would you go home? Would you go to bed earlier though, as a child, or you would stay up?
Very strict getting into bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That routine.
Well, I guess if the power's going off, I'm going to sleep.
You just yeah.
There's nothing much to do at 10 o'clock. Might as well go to sleep.
Just go to bed, eh? Ray, you mentioned coming here in the post-war. Do you have any like stories or anything that was there any relation between what was happening in the wars and your family? Was there anything?
No, Dad was in the Air Force, and he was up the Solomons, and I just have vague memories of concerts. He was a musician, and he'd be involved in doing concerts and things, and as I say, I've got a bad memory, but what else? I can remember being pushed onto the back of a Air Force truck by one of the, what are the women called? The racks, Air Force, the woman in the Air Force.
Do you know Te Paea?
No, don't worry about that. And the other thing I do remember is the Victory Parade and our neighbours painting their whole bodies in bright colours, and a bulldog on a truck in the parade in Hamilton, because that was Winston Churchill. And that's about all I remember of the war.
Winston Churchill. Oh yeah, because then there was the time to rebuild England, and there was
I don't remember the rations and all that sort of stuff. Which were after the war, but I don't remember all that.
So you had your childhood in the Coromandel, and then you studied. When was the moment that you decided to leave and do your own thing, or like to try a new place and do something new? What took you out of the Coromandel?
Probably jealousy. My sister went. She's 18 years older than me, and she went off, and I wanted to follow her.
Where did she go?
She went to Te Puke first, but we both ended up in Auckland.
Oh, cool. What did you do while you were up there?
Oh, I went to a business college. I was one of these people who didn't know what they wanted to do, so I sent to a business college, and you had to type and shorthand and bookkeeping, and which was basically the work I did all through my life. Typing. We don't use that word nowadays. It's an old word.
But you got to travel, right?
I got to travel.
You
with
went
it.
overseas. Right. So I wanna. Okay. So let's take a break there, which is good because now we are getting to the cool moment where Rae goes out there in the world and starts to find out about different lifestyles and connecting with different people. But for the people who are watching, one of the reasons why I wanted to chat with you, it's because something not very pleasant happened to you a couple of weeks, three weeks ago?
I've lost track of time, probably 3 or 4.
Probably, yeah, like almost a month ago, which might sound a bit ordinary for people who are from different cities around the world or different places in the country, but in Whitianga, it's something that is not very common. What happened, Rae?
You know, I hadn't even considered that to have a burglar in the house. It isn't that common here, is it? We do have the thefts and things, but 3 o'clock in the morning, I had a guest staying with me, and she woke up a little bit cold, felt there was a draft coming through the house, and then she heard a noise, and I had my bedroom door closed because I have my TV going all night, and in respect for her, I'd closed my door. So I was oblivious to all this. She gets out of bed and it faces the burglar about that close, just a few feet apart. He had turned off a light, a night light I had, so complete darkness. She thought it was me, and it took her quite a while to realise it wasn't. And then he sort of came to his senses and scurried out the door that he'd come in. I have no idea how he managed to get in that door, unless there was a 1,000,000 to 1 chance that I hadn't locked it, because I do lock that door. Took my purse, my car keys, took my address book, which he probably thought was a wallet full of money. And about a week later, I realised he'd also got my lotto ticket.
Oh,
so
man. Imagine it was the one.
I hope he hadn't won anything, but no chance of identifying him. No chance. He also got into our neighbour's unlocked vehicle and got their cards and managed to get money from the machine from their cards. Tried my cards but didn't get anything.
Oh wow! So he actually went around and did more damage. Wow. And
I would be surprised if they catch him, because there was no identification. It was pitch black.
And your friend, the one who actually saw him, could she say anything about how he looked like or anything, or she was just could not even?
No. She was able to give an idea of height in comparison to her. He was probably wearing vinyl pants or something. The noise of the trousers was rainy and wet weather gear sort of thing. That's all. That's all, which is nothing really.
It's sad.
It's not cool. It's just.
And I'm more worried about her than I am, because she was the one that actually faced him. Very frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely would be.
Was it the first time that you experienced something like this in the area, in the Coromandel? Like seeing or knowing about something so close to you,
No,
or actually
it's a
to
different-
you, someone
different.
come. Nah,
Definitely the first time. It's happened to me once overseas, but not here.
not here. And did you have support from any local? Like, did you get to go to the police? Was anything done, or like it's just hard to?
The police were great. The police were great. And the people were great. My neighbours, I just couldn't believe it. I had people coming with scones and muffins and
That's nice.
vouchers, and the neighbours still changing the locks, waiting for one particular lock to come. Lots of support, fantastic support. Is gorgeous.
The interesting part of this story is that you were actually a volunteer for the community patrol not that long ago, right? How long did you do that for?
I did it for a decade. I was one of the first ones, and I gave it up about, I forget now, 3 or 4 years ago now. But I had done it for 10 years.
Is it something that is common in New Zealand, or you came up with the idea, a group of friends?
No, it's quite throughout New Zealand. It's a lot of towns have the community patrols. We've got 3 here. We've got one over on the ferry, and one up at over ferry landing in Matarangi, and then here in town.
Right. And then, but when you joined, was it already happening, or you was one of the ones who came up with the
I didn't come up with the idea. But at that stage, I know there was a lot of vandalism going on, letterboxes being broken and things. And that's what instigated it. I was there early in the piece. I didn't start it or anything, but I was there very early in the piece.
How was the work? What is it? What do you do as someone who
we
volunteers?
we are the eyes for the police. We're not meant to get out of the vehicle. We cruise around at a fairly low speed for a couple of hours, once or twice a week. More recent years, we've gone into daylight cruising too. Initially, it was nighttime. Could be even, say, 11 o'clock till a couple of hours after midnight, just cruising.
After the pub's closed.
After the pub's closed.
Yeah, that's when all the stuff happens.
Yeah.
That was... I'll tell you the one big thing, and this happened very early in our history. I was with Carol, who was... You know Carol, we used to drive the taxis, and now she drives Go Kiwi. So very wise about the roads and at night time and everything. And it was closing time at the hotel. And this whole group of people surged out of the hotel and down Blacksmith Lane, across into Lee Street. And so Carol said, well, let's park up at the New World. And this crowd, we went through the crowd and parked up at New World. And they got to the intersection of Cook Drive and Lee Street. And they were there for about a quarter of an hour, and then they started dispersing. And then we heard a ping. And Carol said, they've broken glass. I said, no. But she knew. And we went across to the bait shop, and they'd broken the glass in the front of the bait shop. So we phoned the police, and we spent the next half an hour driving around town, trying to find these 2 particular people. And after about half an hour, the policeman decided he'd go and have a look at the bait shop. He hadn't gone into the bait shop, only to find that they'd come back and they'd broken into the bait shop, and they were in the bait shop stealing things.
Oh, they were inside, damn.
And they had taken out boxes of frozen things and put them in the bowling green property. So the policeman started chasing one up the between the fence and the building, but he couldn't get there. His feet were too big to get down there, so they escaped. But in the meantime, we'd gone past a party where a chap had... what do you say? He'd pulled his pants down. What do you say?
Oh, like mooned everybody.
Yeah, he mooned us. He mooned us. So we told Mr. Policeman about that, and he went and growled at them, and then that party man flagged us down and apologised profusely, and then he said, "I know who those two men are," and so the next day the police were able to catch them.
Oh, there you go.
But that was
Very eventful night.
Quite a night.
Would you see more things like happening? What was the most common thing? Just like tipsy, drunk people?
Yes,
making...
just that crowd that come from the hotel.
Was it usually a lot busier in the
Oh,
summer?
most decidedly.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot. It's much quieter now.
Interesting, isn't it?
Mm.
Why do you think it's quieter now? What?
I've been told it's to do with the drink driving. It's people aren't driving so much now. Let's stop them.
Right. Do you remember seeing me walking around? God damn. I'm worried.
I saw you with a beautiful blonde lady once.
Oh, really? Shout out to Leo. That's good. I was not breaking stuff, eh, Ray?
No.
No, that's good. Wow. So, is it still happening in the area? Do we still have the community?
Almost, yes, definitely. And a few of us oldies have retired, so they're looking for more people all the time. I'm out of touch, but there's about 50 volunteers here in
That's quite
Whitianga.
that's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of working out a roster system and everything.
Does everybody volunteer, or do people get paid and stuff?
Oh, no,
as
it's
well?
volunteer.
Right.
It's volunteer, and they're looking for more people.
Yeah.
And it's probably only, you could do about 3 hours a month or something,
Right.
which is not asking too
Yeah.
much.
Mm.
Yeah. So when people do complain about burglars and things, they should help by going into the community patrol.
Do you know how the police works here, like regarding times, and if they do this? Because it's very common to see them also driving around, at late times.
Again, I'm out of touch, but I think there's a ruling now that there has to be 2 police on at a time, which puts a lot of pressure on them. And I don't know overnight what the police are, what force is there, but they work in closely with us.
Mm. Ray, like I would say, I'm just thinking here, like a lot of, because it's a touristic place where we live in, and then a lot of people would come from the cities, and like it feels like they don't care,
Yeah, 'cause
like
some of them don't care. Some of them are really rude.
Yeah, rude, like, and get drunk and think like that no one is watching. So like, I'm not saying that it's fine, but like a lot of the things that people do wrong here might be just like young people trying to have fun. I know that is a silly word because it's no fun breaking stuff or damaging properties or whatever, but like there's also this side of the criminality thing increasing, right? Like the rates are getting higher, and we know that there is more happening in the country as a whole. What do you think about that? Do you think there's any specific reason? Do you think it's something that is just happening because of the gap, because the social differences? What's
No,
your take on that?
I can't really talk on that, but I would like to point out that Whitianga now is, in my mind, not a small town.
True.
It's only about, as I understand, it's only about 1,000 less than Thames in population. When I grew up here, the population was 400.
Oh, wow.
It's now 6,000. So you can't expect the criminal rate to be still low when you're comparing 400 to 6,000.
That's right. And it's very different, right? There are very different lifestyles in this town.
In those days, everybody knew everybody, and if there was somebody who's doing something wrong, they'd be jumped on
Everyone
quickly.
would find out.
Yes,
Especially if there's 400 people living in the same town.
Yes. 6,000 at the moment. Is that what we're at?
pretty well, I
Something
think.
like
Yes, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I remember when I came, people would say, "Oh yeah, 4,000 something, 5,000, almost 5,000." And when you think like it's fairly small, but if you understand like the size of the place. 1,000 is a lot,
Yeah.
right? Like when it comes to like people living, and obviously all the batches, all the empty batches that get filled up with people in the high season.
Well, again, Noel Hewlett told me recently, a few years ago, the batches made up 60% of the dwellings, but now they're only 40% of the dwellings. In other words, there's more permanent people here. That's quite a big difference.
Do you think there's something also to do with the pandemic? People looking for a quieter place to live?
I think there's a general trend for people to go back into the country, but I don't only think it's that. I just envisaged it that with more houses, we've got more tradespeople, so we need more houses for the tradespeople, and it just keeps growing on. Yeah.
And the young people are looking into leaving Whitianga, right, Paea? Getting out of here. Can't wait to get out of here.
Yeah, well, there's only so much you can do here. Like, it is a really nice town, and I really do enjoy it, especially in the summer, because like it's so nice here because you're close to the beach and there's family here. But I think just for like education purposes, there's not a lot of things. Like, there's no university here, so you can't stay here forever, and it's just good to get out of where you come from. I want to like travel a little bit. Yeah.
So your plan is Auckland sometime soon, right?
Yeah, sometime soon in the near future. I'm definitely looking to spread my wings and
there you go.
Travel a little bit.
Have you lived in Auckland, Rae? Oh no! Cannot even talk about that place. God,
No,
man,
I
makes
did.
me cough.
I did time in Auckland, and I forget now, a couple of years when I was watching the judo for 2 years.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. But I keep moving.
You keep moving.
Yeah.
Which one was the first country you traveled to?
Australia.
Yes.
Yeah.
How long did you stay there for?
The first time I was there 16 months, and then I came back to New Zealand, and I worked in a music store in Queen Street. It's in the days of sheet music. Yeah.
Right.
It's just as coloured TV was coming in.
Because you studied music, right?
Later on. Yeah.
Later on. Was it a thing because of your father? Did you have that thing on you, or not?
Oh, a big influence. Yes. Yeah. Big influence. And then one day I was working at the counter at this music shop, and my bosses were at afternoon tea, and a friend came in to say he was going to South Africa with his wife, and my life just fell into place. I said, I'll be there in 18 months. And I went home and sold my piano, and I was in Australia 2 weeks later working in a sheep station, saving up to go to South Africa. I stayed over there for 4 years.
Oh, wow. What did you do while you were over there?
Typing.
Oh, yeah.
But I used to do a lot of hiking. I used to go into
yeah.
the hills, into the mountains. Hiking was lovely.
What year was that, Rae? What was happening in South Africa when you were there? So many things happened recently there in history when you look back to South Africa.
It was so quick that my father didn't realise when I'd gone around to their house for dinner, he didn't realise it was a farewell dinner and that I was going to South Africa. And at 11 o'clock at night, we were fighting on the road in Herne Bay. And he was saying, oh, you'll get killed in South Africa. And I said, oh, I could get killed walking up this road. Don't you be so rude to me. And 2 days after I got to South Africa, Verwoerd was assassinated.
Who was assassinated?
The president of South Africa.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I don't know what my father thought.
I'm sure he wouldn't have been happy about
No,
that.
very happy.
Yeah.
Do you, how was the social moment when you got there? Was it like pre-apartheid?
Oh no, it was terrible, shocking. Apartheid was shocking there.
And did you make sense of that as soon as you got there? Like, were you aware of that even before
Oh yes,
going?
I was definitely aware of it.
Yes. And for work and all those things for foreigners, was there anything that would make the life of a foreigner harder or not? It was
No, not at all. We had to learn Afrikaans. So I spent about 6 months learning Afrikaans. But other than that, we had to have a medical test. But other than that, it was quite simple, really. I did 2 years there, and then I went up to Rhodesia. I did 2 years in Rhodesia.
And did you
Again, typing.
typing? And you told me that there was a bit of a journey in Africa that you
Oh, I hitchhiked up through Africa. A lot of people were doing it in those days. The 2 years I was in Rhodesia, I was living in a youth hostel, and that was in the day of the Peace Corps and the mercenaries and things. So we had a lot of very interesting people staying with us. It was fabulous.
That's a great way to meet people, though.
Oh, yes.
So what was? Do you remember the route? Like, do you remember how many countries you
Oh, up the eastern side of Africa, Zambia, Malawi. We went to Malawi on holidays a couple of times, but Zambia, Malawi, Tanzania, and then into Kenya, and then on a boat out of there. Yeah.
going to Europe?
No. Then we went. I didn't get to Europe until more recent times. Over to India.
To India.
Yeah, and then Thailand. It was, a lot of people did it in those days. It was
wow, but you're here, you're in front of us.
Yeah.
We're not talking to the other people, so
What was your
I'm
favorite country to visit?
I had a wonderful time in Southern Africa, Rhodesia in South Africa. In Johannesburg, I was one of the people who started a hiking club, and we'd go on Friday night, we'd get in the cars or go in a train and get to somewhere, and then we'd hike, and it was fabulous, and get back home on Sunday night.
Oh, that
Fabulous.
sounds cool.
Fabulous.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How many people would join? Like, how group would be?
Oh, good question.
How big would be the groups?
Probably not a big group. Probably. In fact, I was just 2 days ago looking at my slides of those walks, and about 10 people, 12 people, a couple of carloads.
That's a good group. That's
Yeah.
solid. What about India? When you got to India, I guess the reality was a bit different than Africa.
Yes. I was there 6 weeks. It was lovely. I enjoyed it very much. Very, very colourful.
Colorful.
Yes.
What do you remember? The food, the people. What was more?
I got to a point. With the food, and I do love Indian food, but I got to a point, for health reasons, that I was having a fairly basic diet. Lost a lot of weight. Came out of there looking rather nice.
Too spicy, Ray.
No. It wasn't that. It was other reasons.
Right. Yeah. India is one of those places, like, just by hearing friends saying that, like, you got to pay attention to where you're going. Like, a lot of countries, especially with water and what you're consuming, where you're getting it from, you got to be a bit mindful.
Yeah,
know?
very careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you come from a country like New Zealand, where you can actually drink water from the tap, which for me was new. Even when I came here,
Was it?
I'm like, whoa, what? Can drink from the tap?
Tap water.
Tap water.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Wow.
Yeah. Not the safest in Brazil. Not really.
Wow.
Not the best move to do it. Yeah. Sometimes, like, some little things we don't even think of how good it is.
Yeah, man, we've got it. I've got it so good here, like, just with power, water, and food, and education.
Yes,
There's a lot of
definitely.
things that I definitely take for granted. But I think that's why I kind of want to travel, just to, like, see how other people live, and I can definitely appreciate, because I do love New Zealand, but I want to, like, travel and see how other people live.
Do you feel like that, Ray? Do you feel like going to these places and experiencing and seeing different lifestyles helped you to open your mind and make more sense, or you always had people at home telling you stories? And because you are a very open-minded person, that's why I like to check.
Well,
with you.
I have been thinking about that recently, and one thing I've pinpointed, my father and there used to be a school out at at the end of McLeod Strait. What's it?
Oh, we're bad with the geography.
Where the 309 is. You got McLeod Strait.
It's not the Was it
Kaimarama?
Kaimarama?
Yes.
Down there?
Kaimarama,
Yeah.
yeah.
There used to be a school there, and the headmaster and my father were great mates. They were until old age, and they used to see who could bring the most interesting person home, and we'd have fascinating people staying at our place.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And I
What kind of people, Ray?
well I can remember an very old Jewish violinist. I can remember a beachcomber, and Jim Devine brought the beachcomber in, and Dad conceded defeat. He thought the beachcomber was the most interesting one. Beachcomber, somebody just living off the
Right.
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
living off the beach, but quite interesting people. And I have wondered about that. I think my parents were quite open-minded people, and then we had that introduction, those sort of people coming into our house. So it was good. Yeah.
And then, sorry, you were...
Oh, I think that's great. Like, you can see how other people think, and then I think it's good to be open-minded.
makes you appreciate. That's like we were saying. You can say, oh, we take it for granted, but like if you're used to something and you grew up with that's what you know. But like having that idea that other people live very differently, and
not judging them, accepting the way they do live.
And it's interesting as well, just to hear from these people as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. I was listening to this podcast this afternoon from Brazil, and it's a priest who is doing a lot of amazing social work. And I'm not a religious person, but like the older I get, I get more, open to listen to people and having conversations. We're all humans, and that's a beautiful thing that he said. That like one thing that at least in the principles of all religions, like they have in common, which is you don't judge.
Yep. Yes.
Like you should offer help, and you should be supported to anyone regardless of what you think of that person. Like you should be free of judgment. So that was a beautiful thing for me to
Yes, I grew up in an atheist household, but I considered my parents living those rules.
Yeah,
it was just part of their life.
Were they open about atheism, or they wouldn't even classify themselves as atheists? How was the thing with faith and religion at home?
They were atheists. Yeah. My mother came from a long line of atheists. Dad was a bit different, but yeah.
Different because he had some sort of like faith or beliefs, or
well, he was of Scottish parentage with a Methodist upbringing as a child.
Right.
But Mum's side, about 3 generations of them.
That's interesting because like I don't think I know many people who had parents, grandparents without some religious.
We can go back to a great who was religious, and I think the attitude changed after him.
Would Mum chat about these things,
no,
or she would just say that's what it is?
No. My father did, and but not Mum. No, just didn't talk about it.
And did you feel like they gave you space though to have your own thing, or like she would kind of like make it in a way that, come on, don't be silly, listen to Mum here.
That Jim Devine, the headmaster from Kaimarama, he met me in at the Auckland Library once, as I'd been in Auckland a few years, and he said, are you still going to the Seventh-day Church on Saturdays and the Baptist Church on Sundays? And I said, no. He said, thank God you had your father worried.
Great, wow.
Yeah.
I saw an article the other day that a lot of countries, when they do the census, it's really dropping the numbers of religious people as compared to what it used to be. It's getting more, like there's more people saying that they don't have a religion. It's kind of like a growing thing. And I wonder, because same thing again, like I was just listening to this, so it's fresh. Like the priest was saying, like how it's good for society when, well, that's the view of someone religious, right? But like how it's good for society when you have a religious based, but another cool thing that he said was like, but you gotta make sure that you're doing the social work, because it can be quite scary to have too many churches in a place that there's homeless, or there's people like where the gap is too big, because maybe those are not the best religious people. You know, like you have a bunch of churches, you have a lot of religious people, but you still have huge social gaps, so they maybe not even doing the work.
Okay.
Because a lot of people who don't have religion, they might even be better for the community than the ones who put themselves on that position, but actually are not doing the work of being good to your neighbor, be good to the next one, you know. Like, so I really like to pay attention to these dynamics when it comes to faith. You know, Brazil is a very religious country, you know, like it's quite, it's a big thing. But I don't know. Do you think New Zealand is quite religious? What's the impression of someone young in the area here,
I
Paea?
don't know, because I'm not religious. Honestly, I've never been to church.
Would your friends even talk about it?
Not really. I don't think I know a lot of people that actually that are religious.
Well, there's certainly still people that
definitely
have a belief. Yes.
Yeah.
And you have to accept them.
Yeah.
You have to
Absolutely.
accept
Yes.
them.
We got a few churches in the area, right? Yeah, there's quite different how do you call it? Just different religions, right?
Yeah. And of course, going back to the old days, we only had the two religions. Well, the undenominational church, the white church, that was for a few religions. And then we had the Catholic Church.
So what was the first one? The right?
Undenominational.
Undenominational.
Yeah.
Which means all the other ones apart from Catholic. Really, Rae?
Yeah,
Was that how it was?
Yeah. There's a few of them throughout New Zealand. Not many, but a few throughout New Zealand who are undenominational.
Undenominational. And
I think now it's Anglican, but it was built as undenominational.
Wow. Catholic or all the others? Or all the others. Interesting. Yeah. I was not familiar
New word.
with the term. Yeah. I don't know. I like to talk to people about faith, because I think we all relate to that feeling of not knowing what's happening, or what happens, or why, or how we're here, and all those things. But it's very interesting to see how people, you know, like to believe in their stories or whatever they want to see. And when you travel, you get to respect even more, right? Because you see countries and people changing.
After my husband died, I was in his chief's car, and they asked me what religion we were, and I said our religion was in the rocks and the trees. That's where our religion was, out there in the bush.
Where did you meet your husband, Rae?
In Auckland.
Mm.
After I'd come back from Africa. Yeah, that's right.
And there was were you always interested in the Maori culture? Because we had Maddie coming here last week, and we talked about the book that she gave to you to read about her grandfather, and you had some Te Reo Maori material that she was after. So I guess you were always interested in history. And so how did that come about? Was it something that it was always part of you to understand your past and your traditions? And
I was talking with a fellow pupil just today about our headmaster he was through a lot of our primary school, he was the one headmaster, and he taught us a lot about the Māori wars and things. He opened up our minds. We they say that some schools they haven't learnt the New Zealand history, but he taught it to us. So I think we had already had a grounding there.
Because your last name is Māori, right?
Well, that's my husband's name.
That's your husband's name. Oh. So then it gave you more like room to go and find out about his family as well. How was that connection? Because I think it's such an interesting thing, isn't it? How women are the ones who usually change the names. You know, like now there's this big movement of like, nah, keep both names, or don't change it. Kind of like a feminist lead kind of thing.
Well, after he died, his son, he had 4 sons to his first marriage, and after after he died, one of the sons said, I thought you'd go back to your maiden name. I said, well, what would you prefer, Crab or Katene? So I stick to the Katene thing.
So the other name is Crab.
Mm.
Rae Crab Katene. Okay.
It's
I
just-
like it too. I like it. I like it. Crab is cool. Crab's cool. I'm just thinking that.
He still says the name incorrectly. You'll have to teach him to Paea.
Yeah, I thought it was.
How's it spelled?
I thought it was Katene.
K-A.
Katene.
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 I think you just need to hold the A little bit longer.
Katene.
Yeah.
Katene. I'm learning, Rae. I'm getting there. I'm learning. And what's the involvement with the museum? Because that was also a big part of your life.
Oh, that was wonderful. What happened? Oh, that's right. I'd come back from England. Loose end. Went to Winds looking for a job. And to cut a long story short.
Oh,
there
tell
was
us the long story, Rae. Come on.
Well, the long story was I went for an appointment and the Winds door was closed. And I went for another appointment and the Winds door was closed. So I did a little stamping the ground outside, and somebody came and unlocked the door. And what's wrong? And I meant to have an appointment. Oh, we'll see what we can find. And this museum job had just been phoned through, and I just didn't tell anybody else in Whitianga about this museum job, and I hope Winds didn't. And of course, it had to go through the museum committee, my application for the job. And I got it out. It was 10 years. It was lovely. Loved it.
What was the job? What part of the? Were you doing the research? Were you doing the?
Well, no, I was. There was a lot of confusion there with me because back in those days, this is pre-Beck, there was Janet Riddle and Dot Edinger, and they had been the mainstay of it for 25 years. And there was a lot of other volunteer people in there, but Dot and Janet had 25 years of their life had been gone to the museum. And I came along and they were wanting to upgrade the museum and looking for funding and things. And it got very involved and what happened? Yeah, the funding came through and they were upgrading it. It was really good. And they've made a beautiful museum out of it.
What's the routine of a museum? Because I remember when the lady who runs the museum here, she gave a lecture at school, and she was saying like how people sometimes get rid of stuff they're so valuable, like it would mean so much to be in a museum, and people just give away or throw it away. They don't know, like, so how is the thing with actually knowing what's out there and getting to like see if it's legit or not?
Yes, it's involved, and it's quite technical. When Janet and I used to enjoy going off to annual conferences, and you learn so much there: how to restore material, how to store material, how to restore it, how to display. It's a fascinating thing, the museum. Have you ever been to the museum, to Paea?
I have been to this museum, but so if you found something like quite big that would have to be in like a like the Auckland Museum or even like a museum overseas, would you have to give that away? Like, how does that work? Or
Yes, you do. I know that there was one thing we had. It was some rather intriguing little stove, but it didn't belong to us. It belonged to Kawhia, I think it was. We knew that it had been, and so we contacted the Kawhia. I think it was Kawhia, somewhere on the west coast, and returned it to them.
oh right, that's cool.
But are you talking specifically with the Maori stuff?
No, I was just wondering how that works. So like, if you found something that was from like another place, would you have to let them know? Give it
yes,
away,
yes. So
yeah.
there is that respect there.
Right.
You return it to a better place. Yeah.
What methods were surprising for you, like on the way that they would restore something or just make it?
Oh, I can't get too technical with that, because even back in our days we were still amateurs. I think now they're much more professional with it than in our days with Dot and Janet. Yeah.
Different things. Yeah.
As the museum progressed, it got more professional in that respect.
I haven't been there in a while. I have to go down and have a look, because I'm sure they'll have some new stuff. I haven't been there for
Well, that's why on Friday I've been invited to a opening of a new display, Whitianga 1943, which is rather intriguing.
1943.
Yes.
What's the reason of that?
I don't know. It's got me intrigued. I don't remember anything specific from 1943 in the museum. I don't remember any photographs from 1943 in the museum.
Oh, so you don't even know what's...
No, that's
what's
I'm
gonna
quite
be?
curious to go and see. Yeah.
Is it something that is common for them to do, like to put different special...
Oh, I think so, yes. And I
Yes.
think Beck's good at that, yes.
Right. And you got to find a way to make it interesting for the children, I guess, because you want to attract young people to
Yes.
come and have a look and understand.
I think most people, when they go in there, they're surprised at how good it is, and they have to allow a couple of hours for it to go through it. It's just not a 5-minute wander around.
Do you sorry, were you
Oh, no,
was
no,
it?
no.
Do you think it's just a natural thing that like there's the development happening in town and things are changing? Do you see it as just a natural progression, or you feel like sometimes we change it too quickly in a way that is not?
Oh, I think I feel that there's just been a revolution and a renaissance. That's the word I'm looking for. A renaissance in the museums and in our history. And the museums are building up their history.
Right.
I remember going into museums in that time, particularly in the first part of the decade. You go into a museum and their history would start from the Pakeha, and there'd be all these Pakeha settlers up on the wall. That's changed.
Yeah.
It's changed. I'm
So-
talking about the little country museums.
Yeah. Rae, it's a friend of mine watches the show from Germany. He was saying, "Oh, it's nice that you guys speak the Maori words, but sometimes it would be nice if you could tell a little bit more about them." And I'm like, "Yeah, fair enough." So I'm gonna try to get that discipline. So when people from New Zealand use the word Pakeha, what is it? Is it actually is it a term for white people, or it can't? Do you guys know the story behind?
My understanding is that Paea doesn't actually mean white person. It just means foreigner. So you're just not like Paea is just the word for not Māori. So, yeah.
I go along with that.
Right. Okay. Do you feel like, Rae, there's more visibility to the whole story nowadays? Like when you were growing up, when you were learning the story of the country where you were born, do you feel like you were getting a good version of the story, or as you got older, you realized that the story was a bit different? How was
I think it's getting better now. I came back to New Zealand 30 years ago, and again using the word renaissance, the way we're pronouncing the Māori names now, just from 30 years ago, and the way we're putting the words into our English language, it's just wonderful, just wonderful, and much more awareness, much more awareness.
it gives identity to a place, right? That's the cool thing.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
because it's not that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Because, for example, we speak Portuguese in Brazil. And for us, for a lot of people in Brazil, like, well, I cannot speak for everybody, obviously, but like, it's our language. You know, like there's even a lot of websites and books and places that you go and it says Brazilian Portuguese, because it's so different from Portuguese from Portugal.
Portuguese, yeah.
Obviously, we can understand and have a conversation and make sense of a lot of things, but like there are words from like indigenous people, and there's like African Latin words. So like suddenly you create identity, you know, like it's yours. It's Brazilian Portuguese, you know. And when I see a little bit of resistance to adopting Maori words to English, like in my mind it's kind of like, damn, but it's cool, you know, like you actually creating your own way of speaking, because Kiwis have accents anyway, you know, like Stu was telling me that he was recording a song and he was saying a word and the guy recording the song was like, "Oh, do you want the Kiwi accent? You know, like, are you really singing?" And he was like, "Man, I don't know any other accent. You know, like this is just how I say it." But like, so it has character anyway. But when you can add new elements, it feels like you own up to that. You know, it's yours.
One thing I think about this is the criticism of the Māori don't have a word for television, they don't have a word for car, they don't. But Shakespeare invented something like 10,000 words. He made up these 10,000 words. Language is always evolving, whether it's English or Māori language. It's evolving.
Yes.
It's always changing, and which is... In Brazil, they would have spoken Portuguese once upon a time, but now they're speaking Brazilian Portuguese.
Yeah. And I'm sure, 100% sure, that like in Portugal, you won't hear a lot of the words that were brought there. You know, like it just doesn't travel that far. Yeah. How do you feel about that, Paea? Do you, because we on Friday with Maddie, we mentioned, funny, we said the same word, like the renaissance of Māori, you know, like this cool thing that is happening now of more people engaging. But for you, it because you're young, so like it's just part of where you are. But like, can you still relate to a time in the past that it was not as present as it is today, or you see as a good ongoing thing since you remember learning?
I think the older I get, the like... not cooler, but like the more I want to do it. Like when I was younger, I definitely want to know about my culture, but like just being around more Māori people and seeing like kids, especially seeing kids like do more Māori and speaking te reo, it makes me want to do it as well, just because like I think it's super cool. Like I think it's super cool, and like I love hearing people speak te reo, and yeah, like when the kids speak to me in te reo, it's like, oh, that's so cool, and like I want to be able to do that. Like I'm like looking up to like little kids, which is cool.
Yes.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
Rae, what about the side of your family? Did you say Scottish?
Yes.
Did you go there as well? Did you?
No, I haven't.
Not that curious to dig a little bit.
When I was a teenager, everybody went to England. 18 months they go off to England. I even lent a suitcase to somebody because I didn't want to go to England. and 2 weeks after she brought it back was when I went over to Australia to go on to South Africa. It was always Africa I'd wanted to go to. So most of my friends had been and come back when they were, I don't know, 2021, and I didn't even start. And I'd been to Australia, but I didn't even start further afield until I was about 24, I think.
So, but you made your way to Europe at some stage, right?
Oh no, I went up to Europe when I was about 60. I went up there to work for 2 years. That was my first time to Europe.
Wow, it was the first time.
And then I went back up a couple of years later for a bike holiday. That was lovely.
Was it fun?
Oh, fabulous. Just a month. It was fabulous.
Which countries did you go to?
We cycled around Lake Constance, which borders Switzerland, Germany, Austria.
That sounds quite big.
It was fabulous.
Cool.
It was fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
How long did it take you?
Oh, look, you could probably do it in a day or two. We talk.
But they're actually small countries if you think about how close they are. Small,
I've just learnt recently that our Alps are bigger than the Alps in Europe. I hadn't thought about that.
Really?
Yep.
Ah. So now we can brag about that too.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm talking in length. I don't know about height.
Yeah. What about South America, Rae? Any connection?
That's one of the things that hubby and I hit on. First off, when we first met, we were going to go around South America on motorbikes, which is why we went to Australia. But then we got domiciled in Australia and nothing happened.
So it could be a place to go to. Could be an adventure.
Not now.
Not now. Yeah, and it's probably not the best moments as well. I'm not sure. It's a bit chaotic over there. Maybe it's better to
Stay here.
leave it.
Oh, it's so nice here. I wouldn't want to.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Do you feel like it's because now we can travel, we can go anywhere at any time? Well, maybe not as much now. The post-pandemic things are getting a bit more expensive again, but like there's this thing with you can actually travel around the world, you know, like you just can. Do you feel like this possibilities make us enjoy less the places because there's always this feeling of like, oh, I want to go there, and you're never where you are?
Yeah. So, ask me more. I'm not quite sure where you're going here. Ask me more.
Oh no, because what I feel like, for example, some of my friends, they travel a lot. They always, always on a mission, jumping from one place to the other. It doesn't mean that they're most like fulfilling, happy people, like I actually joked with a friend. I said to her the other day, I'm saying, what are you looking for? Like, what are you doing?
Happiness.
Yeah, like I was like, we were joking, but like it was going a bit deeper. And I was like, you keep going to these places, are you just curious?
What is she running away from?
Yeah, like what's up? And then we just went on this like long, deep conversation of why is that? Like it's just because we can, and then we feel like we have to go and see the world. But actually, years ago, when you could not do that, people were really enjoying community, like the place that they were living, and things were way smaller, but you were content with being where you are. I'm just asking, your because
I'm laughing because you're talking about the present time now. I think you know my front door, and that I've got a curtain with a face sketched on the curtain. Do you know that front door?
Who is the face that is on your curtain?
She is one of that generation that were the atheists, and she went up to England before the First World War.
Who is that?
She's my great aunt. I beg your pardon, my great aunt. She raised my mother and my mother's brothers. Went up to England before the Great World War, spinster. Coming back into the Auckland Harbour, she said, "I'm going back in 18 months." And back she went in 18 months. So even back in those days, spinster could get the travel bug.
The travel bug, yeah. I get that because every time that I travel, I have the travel bug.
You just want to do it again.
Yeah, but then I appreciate being still and being here. I think, I don't know why. I don't know if Fitzianga did that to me, that I got.
Yes, I'm surprised I've surprised you're here so long.
I'm surprised too. Look what I'm doing now. I mean, one more big reason to stay.
Yes. Just today, a Facebook site came up, what, about 6, 7, 8 years ago?
What a coincidence. In 2014?
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah.
That's 8 years.
8 years ago. Yeah.
Oh my God, 2014? That doesn't even feel like 8 years ago.
Right? Yeah. It was, you made a comment about going to On Fire and watching one of the jam nights or something.
Yes, 8 years ago, and it came up on Facebook today.
Yeah. The bar that I worked when I came to Fitzianga
was that the one that used to be at the front?
Cafe? No.
Yeah.
So I used to play there, and Rae shared this memory with me. She was like, "Oh, look at it." Yeah.
That's cool.
It has been a while. Yeah.
8 years.
Yeah. But I again, like maybe the reason why it's because I got to experience a completely different lifestyle.
You hadn't intended being here this long?
It was just happening. Yeah, one thing led to the other, and then one opportunity led to the other. I was not chasing up anything or planning too many things, and I think that's exactly the reason why I stayed, because most of the things that I planned, they went on a different way, and then I realized, what is this bullshit about planning things in life and then life throwing random things at you, like, so I kind of in a way stopped worrying too much about my plans, because life will put things in front of you anyway. Yeah. And the things that came to me, they were so cool. And I was like, I think this is actually better than what I was planning.
Yeah.
You know, so I still have the thing. I have a chat when Steph, the yoga instructor, was here last week. We had this thing about like missing the city life, because it's something that I do appreciate. I love the multi cultures and like seeing people all the time, and there's that fast pace, you know, and you can find all the cuisines around the world in the same spot, you know, like in the live music, there's always an option, you know, and people dress up differently and you can find your hub. So of course those things are important and very nice when you are a person who likes to be social and be out there. So obviously I miss that. But I don't see it as a problem. I see it as like, oh, there will be the time that I'll do that again. You know, what I'm doing right now seems to be so valuable in so many other ways, you know, just to experience nature in a way that I haven't,
But you're moving on from, you're just moving on, aren't you? It's great, yeah.
Yeah, and trying to find ways to still keep a very nice lifestyle, but doing other things with like connecting with more people, you know, like even by doing this and getting these amazing people to run the show with us, you know, and getting cool people to chat with, like we are expanding our networking. So I think it's just happening naturally. I hope
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Yeah.
In my case, I can say I've been quite happy living out on sheep stations. I've done that a couple of times in my life. But I've also lived in the middle of, I don't know, 4 or 5 cities. I can't remember now. Quite happy in either position.
Which one was the busiest? The one with more people, more noise, more everything? Got you a bit overwhelmed, maybe?
I don't. I'm just thinking. One in London, I was above a motorway. So that, if you want the noise, above the motorway. I don't know. All cities are noisy.
All cities are. Yes. But London has so many special things, especially with the culture, right? Because such a mix of people, and so many people went to England.
Fabulous, fabulous. I love London. Yes.
What was the thing with music when you studied music? Was that a place that you wanted to go, or something that you wanted to do?
No, the music happened. I had a very boring job in Brisbane for a decade, and one of my fellow workers was getting involved in a volunteer radio station. But then he decided to become a bus driver and had to work shift works, and he was going to do the jazz on this volunteer radio station. So he would write the script and I would read it out for the jazz. And then I started to do the classical, and somewhere in the midst of that I happened to mumble to another fellow worker, I'd love to learn more about music. And he said, we'll go to university. And I phoned there and then. I phoned the university, and I majored in music at night time. I'd only go at night time. I still held my full-time job. And I majored in music and Australian politics. Don't ask me anything about Australian politics now. But that's how I ended up, and that was theory, wasn't practical.
Yep.
To do practical, that phone call, I phoned the Queensland University music department, and you had to be executive to get into the music department. I've never heard that word being used like that before.
Wow.
So I went in through the BA and did theory and history.
But you do play a little bit of piano, right? Because you said you sold the piano.
Yes. I did say that.
I've had a few pianos. I've had a few pianos over the years. Three pianos or something. Yeah.
What did your dad play, or did he sing?
He was a pianist and organ too. A very unreligious man that used to play for any church that asked him. He went from the Spiritualist Church and the Mormon Church and the Methodist Church in Ponsonby and the Humanitarian Church in Ponsonby.
Have you heard about the Book of Mormons, the musical?
I've seen it.
Oh, I still haven't.
I haven't either. Fabian talks about it every time. He says that it's one of the coolest musicals.
I lived with a Mormon up in in Auckland before I went up to England, and she took me to see that.
Oh, really? She took you to see it? Great. Yeah, because apparently they embraced the thing. Like they just went with it. It's just like, fine. Yeah. Mormons, a completely different, different beliefs, different system. I'm not very... Was she quite like...
Oh, very staunch Mormon. Her daughter was over in Hawaii at the Mormon tabernacle there. But as my father said, that the Mormon people were very strong family people. Very, the family was a very strong unit.
Right.
In the Mormon church. Sorry.
I don't know if it's judgmental or even if it's right to say, but I remember a friend of mine who lived with a Mormon, and he said, man, the person would pack up everything and have boxes everywhere because they're waiting for the apocalypse. So they're ready to if something happens, they're safe. And I was like, wow, is that how it works? So I don't even know if what I'm saying makes sense. But anyway, it's just what I know. So I think I should probably watch the Book of Mormons, right? Rae, and then you're living in this beautiful city for years, and then a crazy Brazilian comes and invites you to be an actress in a video clip.
Oh.
How was that?
Oh, I've got something for you.
Oh! Speaking of crazy Brazilians, there you go, Paea. Look at us getting present. Ooh.
See if you remember what that is.
I think I do remember what it is.
Is it a bow?
Ah, really, Rae? No. Okay, look at this. So, for most people, it looks like an ordinary cup, but this was one of the props for our video clip, right, Rae? Look at this. Thank you very much. Can we keep it, or you just teasing me?
No, you can keep it. You can keep it.
You can drink your tea in it.
I'm thinking. I drink long blacks.
Oh.
And I'm thinking about going to espressos. They say that it's
I think, yeah.
It's a road that you cannot go back.
That'll be the cup for you then.
Hey, isn't it?
That's it.
It's the shot that drives you nuts is the espresso. So there you go. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. So how was that? How was that experience? How did that happen?
Oh, that was one of the craziest. You don't know what we're talking about,
no,
do you?
No idea.
Paea?
Have you watched our video clip, the Not My Circus, Not My Monkeys, the Let's Go Descarrego, the one is 2 and I? We're playing?
I don't think I have.
We'll show it. I'll put the link at the description of this show for the people watching it at home. Today is just not a great day to put it on the screen, but I'll put it on the description. Yes. So Rae, tell me, how was that?
That was one of the craziest days of my life. One of the craziest. It was great. They came to my house to film them singing the song, and I had to be the actress. Yeah.
Such a good actress.
I need to watch this now.
You have to. Yes, we'll do that. So there's a little story behind the thing. So it's Stu, because Stu and I we have played in so many different random places.
Yeah. Like
that you would not believe the crowds, and then we were always saying, oh, imagine going to a place and then there's not many people watching, because it might happen, you never know. So we were writing ideas and scripts, and then we had interesting people in mind. That was actually an idea for another video clip. And I had a list of cool people that I would like to see in a video clip. And Rae was in the list, obviously. And then we just started to think about ideas, and we were like, man, imagine if you go to a place and then someone just hired the band for themselves to play in the living room, something like that. Imagine that it could happen, right? So I told Rae, and Rae's house is beautiful. There's this, she's got Marilyn Monroe's curtains. It's pretty cool.
I've got Marilyn Monroe in that one, and then my old great aunt in the front.
On the other one.
quite opposite.
Yeah, like
quite opposite.
Crazy pictures. Beautiful. So I told Rae, I said, look, the idea is that we're coming to play and we don't understand what's going on, and she's the one all excited about having the band. So we're playing and she's having a cup of tea, and then she's reading a book, and then she falls asleep, and then she starts to interact with the band. And I'm not gonna tell the end of the video clip. You guys have to watch it. But it's pretty cool. It gets pretty crazy,
I think there's a better actress in there than me, though.
Your dog.
My dog.
Yes. What's her name?
Honey. She was just brilliant.
She was perfect.
And the final scene, She couldn't have been better. If you watch it,
Yes.
I'll watch it.
Watch
I'll
it to
watch
the
it when I
final
get
scene.
home.
She, brilliant.
And we were actually pretty lucky. A friend of ours, he's a fantastic film editor. So he brought a Super 8. It's like an old film
Oh yeah.
camera, and we, because it's an expensive thing to buy, so he was like, man, we don't have many shots, you know, it kind of
Yeah.
has to be
On point.
good takes, you know. And I'm like, don't worry, man, we got Rae and she know what she's doing.
Yeah.
And Ray's like, what are you talking about?
What do you mean? I knew what I was doing on the first time I'd done it.
But we nailed it, eh? Like, it was so good, it was so much fun. And yeah, I'll show you the
Yeah,
video
yeah.
clip.
Just flick me the link.
It
And
was
I'll have a look
great. Rae did a fantastic job. And there's some connection in your family as well, right? Some people who are involved with film or something. Is that something that you were telling us?
I do have a famous cousin. Yeah,
Famous
in
cousin.
the film world. Yeah,
Who is the famous cousin?
he's an Oscar-winning cinema photographer, and he's got a movie coming out in October. I'm waiting for it. 3,000 Years of Waiting, and it's to do with the genie. It's set in modern day times, but it's to do with the genie meeting a modern lady.
Oh,
But it goes back into the old stories of the genie.
cool.
Yeah, so that's coming out in October. It was released at the Cannes Festival a couple of months ago.
Does he live in New Zealand?
No, he's the Australian side of the family.
Right.
It's always the Australian side.
When he comes for a visit, you please tell him to come to our show. It would be very nice to
He
talk
would be.
to him.
He's a lovely chap too. Yeah,
Oh,
but he's done brilliant movies over his lifetime. But he did Mad Max 4.
oh
and,
really?
And the thing with that one was he's about my age, a year or two younger. He had retired when he got pulled back to do Mad Max 4, and he had to learn the digital. He had never done. So here's a man in his, I don't know, 70s, early 70s, learning to do digital camera work for Mad Max 4.
That's cool.
I think that was fantastic. He was nominated. He didn't win an Oscar for that, but a lot of his technical fellow workers
What
did
was
win
his
Oscars.
name?
John Seale, Seale. Which, can I talk about that?
Ah, yes, please.
You haven't picked up that my cousin is Seal
In your crab.
and I'm a crab.
That's great.
I have a cousin Partridge. I have cousins Partridge. I have cousins Peach. I've got nephews that are Buffet. I forget now. There's about 6 or 7 of them. There's Partridge, Peach, Crab, Seal, and they're immediate. Oh, and one of the
Interesting last
Yeah.
name.
Yes.
Yeah.
the Australian side, a seal has got married a pool, and then cousin John's mum was a pool. She married a seal, but cousin John married a mutton. So, and these are immediate family,
What the heck?
immediate.
Now we understand why you
And,
kept
even Katene is, as I understand it, a transliteration of gardener. So I fit in there.
Wow.
So the crab married a gardener.
Well, I'm loving this. What does Puha mean? Do you know?
Well, if
Now that
you've
we're
ever
talking
eaten
about
boil up
names.
before, you'll know what it is. Do you know what watercress is?
Yeah, I love watercress.
So you basically, well, the way I eat it, or my family, we just eat it in a boil up. Puha is like kind of similar to
milk-
watercress.
Yeah, or a milkweed.
Yeah, it's more bitter. So my last name, I don't know the actual translation to it, but it is like a what would you call it? A vegetable.
Right.
Yeah.
So
which
you
eat.
might be in that family as well.
Yeah,
right?
probably. I'm probably in that family.
The first time I did a boil up, I didn't know that you had to rub the watercress.
Yeah, they're like
It was
midi.
terrible.
It makes it a lot softer and like it makes it better to eat.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so nutritious, eh? Like
Oh,
watercress
yes,
is king.
yes.
It's one of the
Yeah.
most nutritious greens you can have. Yummy.
Very nice.
You good with your cooking skills, Rae? Are you a fan of spending time in the kitchen and you got beautiful citrus trees in your place? I know that.
I have my moments. Yeah. I don't know about nowadays. I'm not so sure these days.
How are you feeling about going on that mission to Paea on your own and cooking your food, doing your thing when you move to the city?
There's always foods out there.
I should be alright.
Should be alright.
Just need to sort out my meal prep and I'll be fine.
There you go. There you go. But that's the dangerous thing about the city, Rae. When you have all those options, all those takeaways, and then dangerous.
Honestly, I'm not into like takeaways, but I do like eating different kind of foods that I haven't had before.
Yeah, but can we distinguish between takeaways and eating foods from other countries?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Like I'm not into like McDonald's and like the fast food restaurants and stuff like that. But
that's not food.
Yeah, that's not even food.
That is not food. You're right.
May it never come here.
Yeah, we had this chat. I think was with Stu on Monday from Blue Ginger. Yeah, talking about like the importance of supporting local.
That's true.
Yeah.
Places, and there's always a push to bring fast foods and.
Nah, I think we should just keep it as it is. I don't really think we should have fast food restaurants here. I think it'll just take away from the people that actually cook around here and then all their local businesses. I think it'd be good if we just don't have fast food here.
There you go.
You can always go over to Thames if you want to.
Yeah, man, if you want it that bad, go to Thames.
Yeah.
Some people actually do the traveling just to get the takeaway and come back.
Yeah, I know a few people have done that. Yeah, that's crazy.
This is quite surprising. You can see the rubbish from those Thames outlets over here lying around on the beach.
Not our thing here. Rae, this has been fun. This has been a pleasure. So nice to chat with you and get a little bit of your story and get to know more about you. I just want to go back there to the... You're right there, my friends. Thanks so much. You're fire. You're not fired. You're fired, Hector. Yeah, just because so many people talked about what happened at your place. A lot of people were surprised.
Oh yes.
And so I was like, well, let's bring Rae. Let's have a chat. That's another thing that we're gonna try to do more. Bring more relevant things that are happening, so we can talk about them. So I appreciate you being open about it. And telling about the experience. And I don't know if you want to say something for the people around here or in general, because it's something that like it can be a bit traumatizing. I would say, like if you
I personally I'm more worried about my friend than me, because she saw him, but the response through Facebook was just amazing. The people who sent best wishes and things, it's wonderful.
So just making sure that the people around here lock their doors and
Well, my initial Facebook post was more to let people know that this person was out there, not looking for sympathy or anything. It was to let people know that there is a burglar out there. Will he come again? Will he strike again? Because as I said, to get to that door, he had to go through a garden gate, which even people who've been in my house for a long time haven't realised there's a garden gate there. And then that door, which I just lock. I just keep it locked even when I'm working in the kitchen. It's locked, and must have been 1 million. If it was unlocked, it was 1 million to 1 chance. I just don't understand how he got in. So we're all vulnerable.
Yeah. I remember when I came to Fitzhanga, people would say, man, this is fine. You can leave your car running, go to the supermarket, get your thing, like leave your doors open and everything. And I'm like, I'm not sure about that.
I still do sometimes.
I still do it too.
Yeah. I just leave my door unlocked, my windows down. I'm like, no one's going to take anything.
But it is changing, Rae? Yeah.
Yes, and that was one of the wonderful things that happened to me, because he stole my car keys and the house keys. And I was worried about the car, and somebody said, I've got a steering wheel lock, which they gave me. Just wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice community. Thanks for the support. Hey, that's cool, right? Oh, beautiful. Paea, any considerations about this thing? What should we be?
You just need you've watched judo for 2 years, Rae. All you need to do is give them a good throw and you'll be fine.
I was thinking
not with these old bones.
join the jiu-jitsu.
No, you just need, just walk around with a black belt. If he knows anything about martial arts, he'll run straight out that door.
There you go, Rae. We're gonna put something.
You come and live with me.
There you go. Are you still looking, because you used to have some students sometimes or something?
Yes, I did have students for 15 years or something, and they're calling out for more homestays now. I loved it, but I've got to the stage now I just want to potter around my house and not worry about other people.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Good on you, Rae.
Yeah. But they are calling out for homes if anybody's interested.
Yeah, because we're going to have the international students again.
They're coming back. They have come back, yeah.
There you go. Hey, finally, hey.
Yeah.
Miss them.
Yes.
Different people, different vibes.
Yes.
Always welcoming,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you for asking me.
This has been a pleasure. I hope you share it with your friends and family. I'm sure they'll be very happy to listen to some stories that they know, some stories that they don't know.
I probably don't know some of them. Yeah.
Some of them. Paea,
Leo.
always good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great.
When is the next comp? When are we supporting you next?
I don't have any comps coming up, but I did do a comp in the weekend.
How did it go?
I came second for my division, so that was
Wow,
good.
good one.
Yeah, which is always fun. I lost my first match, and then I won my second match, and honestly, I think I take more from my losses than I do from my wins, although I do like winning, so that's always good. Yeah.
Nice.
And where do you train?
So there's the gym in town.
Okay.
They do jiu-jitsu there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's also like kids classes and stuff there as well. So it's pretty cool.
Good one.
Which gym exactly? Because there's two of them.
It's Tor Martial Arts.
Tor Martial Arts, which is the Evolution? Evolution Fitness?
Evolution Fitness. Yeah.
Billy and Buddy, shout out.
Yeah.
Nice. Is it the one that you go to, my friend?
Yeah, it's the one I go to for jiu-jitsu classes.
Yeah, he's been tapping his dad out on the weekly.
Yeah, my man. Are you enjoying it, Hector?
Yeah, it's fun as. I'll probably keep doing it for a long while there.
So
Was it
black belt?
Black belts, yeah. Was it more challenging than you thought it would be, or you didn't have many expectations or ideas of?
I didn't really have any ideas of what it would be like.
Yeah.
But it's pretty tiring. Like by the end of the lesson.
Man, the first time I did it, I was like, oh my God, this is like a totally different type of fitness. Yeah.
Nice. But you're enjoying it?
100%.
And your ears are still the same, like he hasn't got the MMA ears, the cauliflower ears?
Some people just don't get it. Like they just don't get the cauliflower ears. It's like if you're rubbing them. Yeah.
All those like helmets that they wear.
You can get like headgear and stuff.
How many people are learning jiu-jitsu?
So all up, I think there's about like maybe 70 kids that do jiu-jitsu. I might be wrong, but
Fantastic,
around and then or maybe 60, and then there's about like 20 of us off and on at the jiu-jitsu that go to the jiu-jitsu, the adults class.
I didn't even realise it was being taught here.
Yeah, I think they also
wonderful.
do like karate and stuff here as well at the local hall.
Yeah, town
That's
hall.
good.
Yeah.
Kickboxing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's also kickboxing at the gym too.
I have to say that the last 2 years I've been watching on TV with terrible admission is K-dramas, Korean
Korean drama. Yeah.
You get a lot of
They have really good shows
Yes.
there. Like they
Yes.
have heaps of shows, and there's always new ones coming out as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch a few of them too.
That's all I do watch.
Just a funny comment here that we got from Tony Gill.
Oh, yes, Gil.
said
Oh, that's another
Gil.
one, but he's not an immediate family. He's family.
Oh,
Gil. but he's not immediate
Oh,
cousin.
He says, hey, Ray, you're looking good today. Lovely to see you. Yes. We got some people. Hey, Leo, got into my account. Oh, hi, Taylor. What an amazing conversation this has been. Wow. People are happy. People are enjoying our chat.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Hector, thank you so much, my friend. Last 2 days of school before the holidays.
Still gonna do these over the holidays though?
Say it again on the mic.
Still gonna do these shows over the holidays.
Taylor is back, but you should come and stay and learn some new stuff.
Yeah, I will.
There you go. Thanks to Paea.
Thank you for having me, and thank you, Ray, for sharing your stories. It's great.
Yeah.
Thanks,
lovely,
Ray.
Lovely meeting you.
Ray, that was lovely. Thanks for the presents. We'll keep it handy for my espresso shots. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you. And for you guys watching us at home, thank you so much. We go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. You really support our platform by doing that. Also, check out our ALTBAYS clips. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those social media. You find us there. And yeah, I'll see you on Friday. We have Manus Pretorius.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, right?
it's his birthday today, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. He's the manager. He's the head of the new refuse station.
Oh no, I got the wrong person. Sorry.
It could be his birthday.
Happy birthday to
The one I know,
Manus
the
that
one I know.
Ray knows anyway. Anyway, the Manus that is coming here on Friday, he was the one in charge of the project that is going to bring a new refuse station to Whitianga. And it's going to be pretty good for our town. And they're going to have one of those kind of like seagull. you know?
That'd be cool.
Yeah. And there's like, it's way more sustainable than what we have at the moment.
We
So
definitely need one.
I know, right? And I don't know much about it, which is great. So we have a lot of questions to ask on Friday. So yeah, stay tuned with us on Friday at 7 p.m. I'll see you there. Have a good night. Bye.